Hello Explorers, this is Alex Flagg, Crafty Games. In this series of videos, I'm taking a deeper dive into the design and gameplay of our new game Buru, coming to Kickstarter May 17th. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the center of our first expansion for Buru, called Ambelau. Ambelau is the name of a new region that is added to the game when you choose to play with this expansion. It appears as this special board that is added to the main game board. It just slides right on here at the 60 mark, and it becomes the new fourth region when you're playing. So this adds a total of 5 regions when you're playing. So you would go from forest to shore to village to Ambelau to Sacred Lake next. Now, the Ambelau expansion adds some more unusual and kind of gamier mechanics to the game and requires a whole new level of thinking about how your strategy is on the island and how you're going to go about executing it. It also adds a new spirit, Ibu, the spirit of life, which exists on this offshore island. So because Ambelau is a smaller offshore island, you actually don't get to go wherever you want like you do on the main island. Instead, you have to use these little canoes and you have to sail around the outer edge of the island in order to explore it. And so that's reflected here with a new kind of movement system that's based on your bids. So if you were playing with this expansion, you would go ahead and bid as normal into a wilderness in the center. And so let's go ahead and just reveal this here. So we have a bid of 4 for red and 3 and 3 for yellow and white. Now, the power you have here does 2 things. One, it determines who triumphs in the region. In this case, red would have triumphed, and so takes the special Ibu totem for that spirit and adds it to their tableau. Then, this will allow red to move around the board. Now, you can move a maximum number of spaces equal to your bid. So, in this case, red could move a total of 4 spaces. So, let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And lands in this region right here. And then they take the action when they land there. So in this case, red is landed in a spot where he will get 1 clay and also this special new icon here, which means a guide. A guide is a new type of explorer that's included and you play with when you're playing with this expansion. So the guide has this special reversed out head here, you'll see, and this black back. Now this is always a 1 power explorer that's sitting on your player board when you're playing. So what you get to do is when you unlock your guide, you get to unlock them for the following turn. So you'll get an additional explorer, which will allow you to bid a total of 5 explorers in the afternoon phase. That's a huge advantage because it lets you do a little more observation. It gives you 1 extra power. And so you can double bid in some spaces if you really need to win. And it also gives you a little more bluffing power. It's a very useful ability. So then the next thing we do is we would go ahead and activate yellow, who is second in the order here. And so you'll see that yellow can move 1, 2, 3, and could move short. Could choose to move 2 if yellow wanted to get a task and a fish. But let's say yellow goes here and lands where you have this new Ibu tribute icon and also a palm. So yellow would collect a palm and then pay tribute to Ibu. Now you see on the altar of Ibu here that the Ibu tribute cost is actually just this canoe. That means if you move to a space that has an Ibu tribute, you just get 1 for free. So yellow would draw, and Ibu tributes work a little bit differently from other tributes. Instead of paying resources and getting a flat amount of points, you get this kind of lower amount, usually 1 or 2 esteem, but you have the second ability here. So when you pay tribute to Ibu, because Ibu is a spirit of fertility and life, Ibu rewards you for a great deal of growth. And so that's reflected by this ascending esteem score. For every Ibu tribute you have, other than the one you're using, you gain 1 additional esteem. So if I had 2 Ibu tributes, this Ibu tribute here would be worth 1 esteem plus 1 additional esteem. If I had 3 Ibu tributes, this would be worth 1 esteem plus 2 additional esteem. So this is really powerful. You can kind of execute an Ibu strategy where you're sailing around the island trying to grab as many tributes as you can and kind kind of stack those up, and they become very valuable if you choose to play that way. So that's another way to gain esteem and pay tribute without going to the Sacred Lake. So let's set that aside for yellow. And then finally, white would get to move. So white also has 3. So now white would be able to reach here where yellow is. However, every space is single occupancy. So yellow could choose to move short and take a task and a fish. Or if a space is occupied, yellow or white here would skip forward 1. If that space is also occupied, it would skip forward again. So in this case, white has a choice of either taking a task and a fish, which can be quite useful, especially if you have some islanders to activate, or going here and collecting 1 palm, 1 clay, 1 fish. And also getting further ahead on the track, setting up white to get better benefits later in the round. So you'll see here, these all have gem ratings just like any other region. However, these have ascending values. So you notice that, here you have this little crummy 3 fish spot. It's okay, but it's not anything like getting a tribute and a palm or getting a guide and a clay. But as you go further down, these kind of get iteratively larger and larger. So the board rewards you for going further and further around this track. You don't reset from round to round. You're going to stay in this position. So white will be here at the beginning of next round. If white goes here again and beds 2, we're able to move forward and grab this 3 fish and a guide, or a Ibu tribute and a task. So consequently, if you keep returning to Ambelau, you'll get bigger and bigger rewards, and it'll become more useful. Towards the end of the track, here is kind of the ultimate space. You have 1 Ibu tribute, 1 task, and a guide. So it can be quite valuable if you want to play a heavier Ambelau strategy. But it's also kind of a cornucopia space. There's no real strong focus here. It's a nice way to grab some resources out of turn, grab some fish out of turn, maybe grab a little task, but it all depends on where everyone else is moving. So if there's a lot of folks going there, it becomes a little bit unpredictable what you're going to get. So Ambelau is a really interesting set of choices to make and adds some interesting decision spaces. This expansion also comes with 3 new decrees. There's 1 for the altar of Ibu. For when you pay tribute to Ibu by landing on a space, you're going to get a fish. You get 1 esteem for triumphing at Ambelau, or you get to draw an additional islander card just off the top of the deck. You get it for free. So again, Ambelau and Ibu, they're all about life and growth and things like that. So you discover somebody out there that's willing to help you. Yeah, so that is kind of the top line of this. I really enjoy playing the game with Ambelau. It's a little bit more gamey when you're playing with this expansion, because you have 5 regions but only 4 explorers in most cases. It creates some interesting decision spaces where now you have to decide, do you want to stay on the main island and maybe go to a place like the village where you can be sure to get the tasks you need, or go to the forest where you can get the resources you need, or do you want to take a little bit more gamble and sail out here and try to maybe increase your position and set yourself up for some new and more interesting rewards potentially. So it's a really nice way to expand the game. It's also great when you have high player counts, or you're playing with the Lawan, our AI, and the game is getting really crowded. You have a kind of a relief valve where it gives everybody a little more room to make some more interesting, less limited choices. So lots of advantages here to playing with it. It's also a little more gamey for those who want a heavier game or with a kind of a deeper decision space. So this is a nice way to easily add in new elements to the game and new decisions without making it any more complicated. All right, so that's the end of my discussion about the Ambelau expansion. But if you have any more questions, please go ahead and ask us on Facebook. And don't forget to check out the Buru Kickstarter. You can find out more by going to burugame.com. That's BURUGAME.com. Thanks for listening. Catch you later.